I want to welcome you back to my channel. It's actually been a minute since I've posted any videos. I've been very busy the last couple months with the holidays, and my daughter graduated college, so it's just been lots of fun. I don't stress too much about whether or not I'm posting regularly as of yet. This channel really is more of a hobby for me right now and just for fun. And I always catch vloggers and influencers apologizing profusely whenever they miss a post or they didn't post a video at a certain time. And I don't know if that's something that I'm ever going to apologize for, because I think that you should never apologize when you're, dealing with your self-care and you needed to take care of you. So never apologize for taking care of yourself, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, needless to say, it's been a minute and I'm glad to be back. And today I thought I would do a video about long-term goals and why sometimes it is so difficult why do some people have problems with making long-term goals? And this is a question I actually get asked often in my practice. I make so many goals and I never follow through with them, and so on and so on. And then when that happens, that person gets stuck into this loop where they create a goal and then they're following through for like a day or so, and then all of a sudden they're not able to follow through with it again, and all is lost. In the end, it just is never helpful for you. So when it comes to creating those long-term goals, what are some steps that we can take that are going to ensure our success, or better ensure our success more long-term? This is really common, setting long-term goals and really failing at them and not having much luck. It's very common and it's easy to get frustrated by it, but I think it's one of those things that we've all done at some point in our lives. So the first question I have is, if you're struggling with making a long-term goal, something I would really encourage you to think about is, the very first and most important thing is, what is the motivation for this goal? Why is this goal so important to you? And that's a really good question, because if you can't identify the motivation for the goal or the purpose, or if the purpose is more external, you're not going to be successful in the long term. So I really encourage you to think about, deep down, what is the motivation for that goal? What is the reason? The second thing that I would ask yourself is, does this goal align with my values and the things that are important to me? So if you are creating a goal that really isn't something you value, or is in alignment with what's important to you, you can kind of see how you're less likely to be successful long term. An example of this might be someone who wants to incorporate regular healthy activity and exercise into their self-care and routine. And that's a great goal. And maybe it aligns with their values in terms of self-care and wanting to be healthy, but maybe the type of movement that they choose is something that they hate. So say, for example, that physical activity is going to be running, and that person absolutely hates running and just abhors running. And part of the purpose of them incorporating that healthy activity was to incorporate something that they would enjoy and something that would be sustainable. And so if someone is going to be forcing themselves to run daily and they hate every minute of it, you can kind of guess that long term it's going to be really hard for them to maintain that. But maybe what they enjoy more is biking or doing classes, and they enjoy physical activities in a group. And so maybe they're more likely to join a bike club or join a fitness center that has lots of spin classes, and that becomes their thing. And you can see that's more in line with their values, because part of their value is they want to be able to be in the moment and enjoy that physical activity. And so therefore it's going to be more sustainable for them long term. And in the end, most of us know how to create short-term goals, but the trick is being able to establish them more long-term. The nice thing about the short-term goals is that they do encourage us and motivate us for moving forward with those long-term goals. Here's a strategy that I use with my clients who are struggling with these long-term goals. The first question is, what is the goal that you're trying to achieve? And then being able to ask yourself those very questions. How important is it to me? What is the motivation for this change? And is it in alignment with my values? And so that's step number one. Step number two is identifying barriers. So what are the barriers, or what are the things that are going to get in the way of you achieving this goal? So in a sense, we're kind of looking at this goal and making predictions. What are the things that might interfere with me being successful? So identifying those barriers or obstacles in advance is going to help you be more successful. The fun thing about identifying barriers in advance is that once you start noticing them and you're actively taking steps to move towards reaching those goals, it kind of is really satisfying when you're predicting those things, and it does help build your self-confidence. So it's kind of cool when you catch yourself doing that, then it's like, oh, I predicted that. And then the last step is, now that we've identified the barriers or the obstacles that might get in the way of you reaching those goals, let's think of some strategies that would help you work through those obstacles. So maybe someone's goal is to make sure to eat 3 meals a day. Maybe that person is struggling with getting distracted from things, and they're aware that when they eat 3 meals a day, they feel better. And so what is the motivation behind that goal? Well, they want to feel better. They want to have better self-care. They want to make themselves a priority. So, ask yourself, is that in alignment with your values? Well, hopefully their self-care would be. So we'll just assume it is. And what would be some of the barriers? Well, maybe one of the barriers, eating 3 meals a day, not going to the grocery store would be one of them. Not planning meals, not feeling hungry. Those can all be potential barriers. Maybe another one would be not eating the meals that they prepared. So we have some potential obstacles in our way. And so now what we're going to do is just problem solve them before they even occur. So not going to the grocery store. And sometimes, time really does get away from us, and there's lots of different ways to grocery shop now. Can you do it online? You carve out some time? Can you go with a friend if you feel tempted to buy things that maybe aren't going to help keep you on your goals? Things like that. So maybe one of the challenges is being afraid that you're not going to eat the meals that you prepare in advance. So maybe for that week, sit down and figure out what are some of the things that you're going to prepare. So plan ahead before you go to the grocery store. Maybe it would be good to choose foods, especially in the beginning, that you're going to enjoy and therefore be more likely to eat. And so maybe that's an intervention that you can try that will help you be more successful in the long term. Another obstacle might be what if I'm not hungry? So what if it's lunchtime and I'm not hungry? And that's a difficult one, and I think that one is a little bit more complicated, but what I would say to that one is, Maybe your hunger cues are off. If you're only eating once a day, it's natural for you to get, your body will adjust to that. And so if it's around lunchtime and you're trying to make those changes, acknowledging that I might have some days where I'm not feeling as hungry, but it might take some time to kind of regulate that out. And so as long as I'm following that plan, more than likely, eventually it's going to even out and my hunger cues are going to become more regular. And so that's another great intervention. You can apply any kind of goal to this, and I know we just talked about one that involved eating 3 meals a day, but you can really try this with any specific goal. And like I said, it's kind of fun to be able to predict the obstacles in advance and come up with interventions. And sometimes in the heat of the moment, if we don't have a plan set in motion prior, we're more likely to just go back to old behaviors. So we're kind of almost preparing. And so that way, when the time comes, we at least have some tools in our toolbox that we could utilize and be more successful in the long run. So I hope you enjoyed this video about creating long-term goals and being more successful with them. I actually have a worksheet on this as well, and you can find it on my blog, the selfconfidencechronicles.com. I will actually leave it linked below for you to check out. You're more than welcome to use that and download it and print it up as much as you want. And thanks for sticking around today. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, check out my blog for more content at the selfconfidencechronicles.com. I'm Dr. Christy. Be well, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.